Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tout le monde. Bienvenue. We start with a very ambitious panel today. One which is really looking at one key aspect of this conference, this International Conference of Metropolis, which is really about global cooperation. Can we cooperate better on all those issues that have been spoken about by the Parliamentary Secretary, but also our friend from the First Nation? How can we welcome migrants, refugees in a more decent, human manner, and what it requires in terms of global governance? So the title of our plenary session is the following: The Quest for Global Governance, the Compact, the two compacts, and the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goal. I really like the ambitious title of The Quest for Global Governance. The Metropolis organizer were kind enough to refer to something that my friend from IOM, the International Organization of Migration, or myself as the UN Refugee Agency, would not have dared to say. They just said that by all accounts, getting those two compacts were a remarkable achievement in itself. I'm sure that it is provoking already on the panel, but certainly in the audience, some question or perhaps some criticisms about the compact. But let me rewind just for a minute about what those two compacts are all about. I know that most of you have followed very closely the negotiation, the consultation. I've inputted into those documents. I've shared their views from refugees and migrants themselves to the private sector, technologies, member state, of course, and many of you academics and experts have also contributed to the result. But just in a minute, the Global Compact on safe, orderly, and regular migration. It's trying to tackle the issues of more than 258 million migrants all over the world, and all the dimensions of migration. Looking at what it means for migrants, what it means for communities and economies welcoming them, but what it means also for the host, the original communities in terms of remittances, for example. It looks at mitigating the adverse driver of migration. Migration can be positive, but if migrants must choose and not be pushed to move for better economic or livelihood opportunities. What it means in terms of addressing the legitimate concern of communities receiving them, in terms of the economic impact, the demographics, but also the impact on the environment that we heard about very eloquently in terms of access to potable water, for example. What are the conditions that we need to put in place for migrants to strive in their new communities? This is all in the Global Compact, and in a minute we will hear from Michele Klein-Solomon a little bit more about it. The other compact is the Global Compact on Refugees. It seeks to have more predictable and more equitable responsibility between frontline countries, which are next to the conflict places, which drives millions in displacement, and the donor and Western countries, which try to support those host communities and the refugees. It looks also at how can we be stronger in making sure that both refugees and host communities are more self-reliant. And eventually, what are the solutions that we need to prepare in terms of return, but also, and this is very key here in Canada, third country durable solution. So, the question before us on the panel today is, how do we keep our promises? This was also referred earlier on. What governance will ensure the best result for migrants, refugees, but also the host communities, those welcoming those refugees and migrants? What kind of governments do we want while we are driven by state-centered process when we are calling at the same time for other actors to come to the table, the private sector, international financial institution, regional development bank, but refugees and migrants themselves? So those are the difficult questions that I will put now to my friend in the panel. I will start with Michelle Klein-Solomon. She's currently the IOM, this is the International Organization for Migration, director for the follow-up to the Global Compact. So she has a big task ahead of her and her organization. She was previously the director of IOM in New York, so she's very familiar with all state-led processes and all the diplomatic behind-the-scene and on-stage negotiation. And also, she spent a bit of time heading the Migration Policy and Research Department of IOM. Over to you, Michelle.